From Melbourne's dawn service to Gallipoli, the battlefields of France and beyond. How we honoured Australia's fallen heroes. Plus the one-point ANZAC Day cliffhanger that had everyone on the edge of their seats. Good evening. Victorians have shrugged off teeming rain and bitter cold to honour our war heroes at the annual ANZAC Day dawn service. Big crowds packed the Shrine's forecourt to mark the 97th anniversary of the Gallipoli landings. Dean Felton begins our ANZAC Day coverage.
On ANZAC Day, old and young gather at the Shrine's eternal flame as early as 3 o'clock.
It is the most important day, certainly in my life and the lives of many Australians as well.
Before the crowds come, there's quiet and time to reflect on more than 100 years of valour.
We owe everything to the people that are prepared to serve the country the way they did.
For David Doughty, it's about remembering his father, father-in-law, 5 uncles and all their mates.
Many of them are 17, 16, 18, and they put their life on the line and to give us the life that we've got today, basically, yeah.
But the rain that had been threatening all night started before the formalities. The ceremony, a blend of solemn remembrance the savagery of war and a plea to support today's ANZACs.
They're the ones with the responsibility to protect all that our nation holds precious. Our freedom, our prosperity, our compassion, our respect for all people.
It was cold and wet and windy. The conditions could scarcely have been any worse. But that didn't stop thousands and thousands of Melburnians from making their own small early morning sacrifice to honour those who'd paid a far higher price. The weather appeared to keep many of the oldest veterans away from the early service, but in their absence came those much younger, eager to lap up the ANZAC legend.
I thought they were very brave, and I don't think many people these days would do something like that.
Kids showed a bit of interest, so I thought, why not? Yeah, bring them out here, see what it's all about.
The crowd, about 25,000, slowed the progress of an ambulance that had to push through to reach a man in his late 60s who'd suffered a suspected heart attack. But those who'd been to war were heartened by how many had made the effort to pay their respects.
It's our country. We need to look after it, and keep the tradition going and keep all the people here.
For me personally, it's a reminder of what war's all about and how we should be trying a lot harder not to be in them.
And the ANZAC spirit was bolstered in regional areas of Victoria too, with thousands attending ceremonies like this one at Bendigo's War Memorial. Dean Felton, 7 News.
The rain came down, but emotions were still high for the march to the Shrine. An estimated 12,000 took part, veterans, serving members and the relatives of those who made the greatest sacrifice for our freedom. Norm Beeman is there this evening. Norm, how did everyone cope?
Mitch, the weather did little to dampen the spirit of the war-hardened, but it probably did have an effect on crowd numbers here today. But Mitch, it was inspiring to see veterans in their 80s and 90s refusing to resort to cars and instead marching to here at the Shrine. It was probably the wettest ever, but it didn't deter the men and women of the battlefield.
The war didn't stop for the rain, so you just get on with it.
They soldiered on, not to celebrate war, but commemorate effort. They honoured every theatre of war over the decades, right up to Afghanistan. And true to the diggers' mantra, age could not weary them.
VX 48060, Trooper Len Hurley, militiaman from Horsham. Oh, bless your heart, sir.
And the old inspired the young.
I think it's just about respect and not taking things for granted that we have these days.
For the state's leader, it wasn't just ceremonial, it was personal.
My mother's father served at Gallipoli and died in the Western Front when she was barely 2 years old.
From the soldier depicting our light horsemen to the women who cared for the wounded, to those who flew, others who fought on the seas and those who were in the front line, they inspired pride.
I feel great pride in the men and women who serve Australia. I feel great pride in Melbourne that we are able to commemorate ANZAC Day in this way.
And this day and this march will only grow in significance as we approach the centenary of Gallipoli.
I would like to see at the centenary we have a significant event here at the Shrine of Remembrance in Melbourne, but also around in all of the country centres in regional cities in Victoria.
And one thing that's sure to feature, two up. Norm Beeman, 7 News.
Now to Nick McCallum at Gallipoli, where the Australian service at Lone Pine has just finished. Nick, a touching ceremony.
Peter, a few thousand Australians walked up the hill to Lone Pine, the scene of some of the fiercest fighting here in 1915. 11,000 Commonwealth servicemen are buried there. A further 4,900 Australians and New Zealanders have their names inscribed in a memorial wall. The Prime Minister Julia Gillard and the VC recipient Ben Roberts-Smith played major roles in that commemoration, as they did in the earlier dawn service.
Have a great night.
You too, thank you.
If only our 1915 diggers could see this. Turkish firepower welcoming young Aussies. Sharpshooters here to protect them.
Makes me feel proud to see so many Australians and to be here with them.
While most in the crowd were young and, like the original ANZACs, out for adventure, 3 generations of this family came for a history lesson.
My grandfather landed here on the second day, 26th of April, so just a bit of history and family memories, yeah.
But as the sun went down, a distinct mood change. Throughout the night, there were documentaries and interviews on the big screens here to explain the tragedy that was the Gallipoli campaign. For some, the impact was profound.
They've done their duty for us, and I think it's a little duty that we do for them.
Verna Bateson here to honour her 3 great-uncles, all brothers killed in World War I.
Overcome with emotion. You can't help it.
At the dawn service, the Prime Minister spoke of this cove's role in our history.
It is too a place shining with honour, an honour of the most vivid kind.
Victoria Cross recipient Ben Roberts-Smith read the ode.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
No greater tribute to the fallen than a hero's salute.
Particularly for myself, having 4 relatives land at Gallipoli, I really, from an emotional point of view, was able to put myself there.
It ended with an emotional minute's silence. Many here describe this experience as life-changing.
Incredible, the most moving thing, I think, in my life.
In Gallipoli, Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Chris Reason is on the Western Front in France. Chris, did the dreadful weather organisers feared make people stay away?
Peter, it has been horribly cold here overnight in Villebreton, but thankfully none of the predicted rain and sleet, well, not until now anyway. The numbers were down on last year by about 1,000. Still, they were all determined to pay their respects to the 46,000 Australians who lost their lives here. When Australians marched through here in their thousands almost a century ago, it was to fight. Today, it was to mourn.
We've just come over to support our troops and show that we care.
3,500 ANZAC pilgrims.
This is going to be bigger than Gallipoli in 4 or 5 years' time.
Though predicted rain and sleet held off, it was bitterly cold, but no one complained. They huddled in awe, wondering how the diggers did it, night after night.
We recall the service and sacrifice of so many over now almost a century.
The memorial stands on the site of one of our greatest victories, Villebreton 1918. By coincidence, a battle won on Anzac Day itself. Just after that battle, the mayor of Villers-Bretonneux declared that the sacrifice of these sons of Australia would be remembered and respected always. And almost a century on, that promise continues to be honoured. From the French government...
Glory to the Anzacs. Long live Australia.
The Tetris family paid their respects, but this was the result for 8-year-old Elise.
I'm here, okay? It's all right. It's Australia, yeah. I know. You're an Aussie too.
They're far from the first tears shed here, and they won't be the last. In Villebreton, Chris Reason, 7 News.
In Dubai, our current-day troops have been remembering their recently fallen mates in Afghanistan. Alex Hart is there.
Almost 4 years have passed since David and Mary McCarthy lost their only son.
It doesn't get any easier with each year. It remains the same. Your family is one less person.
Special Forces signaller Sean McCarthy was killed by a roadside bomb in 2008. Today, the flag which was draped over his coffin was raised during the dawn service at the Al Minhad Air Base, not far from Dubai, where Sean's parents live.
Sean was probably one of the very few true ANZACs, born in New Zealand, grew up in Australia and died under the Australian flag.
32 diggers have died under our flag in Afghanistan. The Governor-General paid tribute to them all during the service at Australia's main base in Tarin Kot.
As our modern ANZACs, you share the spirit, defend the tradition.
For the McCarthys, kind words won't heal their wounds, but
really helps. Days like this, it helps a great deal.
In the United Arab Emirates, Alex Hart, 7 News.
The brains behind the traditional Collingwood-Essendon match has welcomed the prospect of a new ANZAC Day clash that's not even in Australia. As Cameron Bowe reports, Kevin Sheedy is in favour of playing a second blockbuster in New Zealand.
After barely any rest, both sides again rose to the occasion.
And then Dawes run down. Watson's tackle was terrific. Gee, well done though by Tooby.
But four-time premiership coach Kevin Sheedy likes the idea of his new club playing another ANZAC Day game across the Tasman.
That's a wonderful idea. The Australian New Zealand Army Corps. If a lot of young people might not understand the actual word ANZAC.
The tradition of footy on ANZAC Day doesn't begin and end with Collingwood and Essendon at the MCG, but the supporters are adamant these two big clubs deserve to remain on footy's biggest stage on such a significant day.
I'm loving it. While the Bombers here, mate, I'm loving it.
It has to be Collingwood.
It's tradition.
The biggest issue for supporters is the competition for a seat. Queues for the members stretched hundreds of metres. Bomber Sam Lonergan had to contend with some threatening tweets to be investigated by police. Nothing could spoil the day for Alison Jones, who tossed the coin prior to the game to honour her son Brett Wood, killed in Afghanistan last May.
Oh, give anything to have him here. But he'll be up there watching.
Before the toss, one of the most moving moments in football. In the end, Collingwood lapped up the occasion for a stirring 1-point win. Cameron Bowe, 7 News.